Let's move on and talk about the men a little bit. They too played that weird Puget Sound Tuesday night game and then Linfield on Saturday. If you read the recap on GoLudes.com that was probably written by some very handsome young journalist guy, you'd know that Puget Sound won 83-73. Drew, where did Puget Sound, kind of gain their advantage?
The last 4 minutes, three of the last 4 minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
Where they went on a run where we turned the ball over 3 or 4 times and they hit really, really big, long threes and then got an easy layup and then we couldn't get going. And it was on the end of a really, really good spurt of basketball for us too, which was weird. And then we made some substitutions and then the run happened and we just never came back from that. We beat them in the second half. We lost a 40-minute game in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and
it was.
It was, and literally we woke Puget Sound up because we beat them for 17 minutes of the first half, and then woke them up, and then they ran us out the gym, and we just couldn't recover from a 18-0 run, Christian.
It was something like 16-0 in the final 3 minutes of that first half, and then it was too much.
That's what I love about your guys' conference is like there is not an easy game in that men's conference.
No, not
all.
this year. There's no team that's way out ahead of everybody, and then there's no team that's there's no team that's like terrible. Like everybody's good.
And makes the games fun.
You have to play your A game every night.
Exhibit A. Pacific goes to Whitworth, beats Whitworth, then goes to Linfield and gets smacked. And then Pacific beats us, and we beat Linfield, which we'll get to breaking down that game here in a minute. But it's ridiculous. Like that never happens.
Yeah.
Like the men's conference this year is absolutely insane.
So let's talk about the conference a little bit. After the loss to Puget Sound, the PLU men sat with a 2-5 record in conference. That put them in 8th place heading into the weekend. The team needs to get on a roll if they want to make a run at this conference tournament here at the end of the year. So head coach Steve Dickerson made some changes to the starting lineup. Who do you add, DJ?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Dickerson added Josh Baird and then our very own point forward charge specialist, Drew Ardisoni.
That's a new one.
And then Dickerson had this comment about the change. He said, Drew and Josh are total team guys. They move the ball, defend, and care deeply about the team. Lester and Foreman benefit from Drew and Josh being on the floor. And so that's an interesting, very good comment from the head coach.
It is an interesting comment. The changes worked. POU beat Linfield 67-54 on Saturday. Dickerson said in the comment that DJ just gave to us that Brandon Lester and Dylan Foreman would benefit from having both Baird and Drew on the floor. Did they, Lacey?
Yeah, they did. Lester had 25 points that game, shooting 6 for 16 from the floor, and Dylan ended up with 19 points, shooting 7 for 15. Jared only had four points that game, but grabbed 10 rebounds.
The 10 biggest rebounds that young man's career.
Yeah.
4 points, but let me tell you, the guy he had to box out was 6'9" and like 240. And Jared just absolutely handled him.
It's like a good offensive tackle right there.
Yeah, he looked like one. That was the most physical Jared's played all year. He didn't get to score a heck of a lot, but he really moved the ball well. It was a great game for him. Don't let the statistics fool you. That kid belongs on the D3 team of the week every week.
But I couldn't agree more with Dickerson, and I think it was a good decision. They needed a change. The men's team needed to mix up something in order to get some wins. And I love watching Drew play, obviously. What'd you call him? Charge machine?
Charge specialist.
Charge specialist. Even better.
Taking specialist.
Love watching him play, and I think what you can say about Drew and Josh is that they're total role players, and they're not looking to score every time they get the ball. Instead, they're working to move the offense and get things rolling for the other guys, and that's exactly what they did. And like Dickerson said, even there's no lack on defense when you put them in either. So I think it was a good move to put them in, because then you give those 3 leading scorers on the team more opportunities to look to shoot the ball.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the men's team has plenty of players who are capable of getting the job done, but sometimes it's figuring out that right combination, and hopefully Dickerson has done that with the changes he's made. So that win will move the men's team to 3-5 in conference. The team is technically tied for 6th in conference with Puget Sound and Pacific. The top 4 teams make it to the conference tournament at the end of the season. The winner of that tournament gets an automatic berth in the national tournament. Drew, I'll let you answer. You're a part of the team. What can you do to make the conference tournament at the end of the year? What can your guys do?
Well, it'd be nice. In the perfect world, we win the next 8.
Yeah.
Since we're all at home, pretty much coming down the stretch, except for the road trip, where we go on the road to already play 2 of the teams we already beat.
So it's 8 of the last 10 games are at home for PLU.
Are at home for PLU.
Mm-hmm.
All very winnable games. We always play well against the Wits at home. Played them very close over on the eastern part of the state, and so we can do it. If I said what I think was going to happen, I think we win the 2 this weekend. I think we split the Wits, win the road trip, and then win the last 2, and then win 7 of the next 8. And I mean, think about it, Christian. We're only a game out right now in theory. Mm-hmm. We're only a game out. Can you believe that at 3-5 we're a game out? Like, that's how balanced this conference is. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in this conversation, but like 3-5 at a game out's unheard of in the Northwest Conference. It's usually Whitworth and Whitman at the very, very top, completely unbeaten until they play each other this last week, and then usually George Fox and someone else. But so balanced, it's gonna be fun. Pay attention to men's Northwest Conference basketball. It's gonna be a blast this last 4 weeks.
I'm sure we will.
Couldn't agree more. It should be a very entertaining final 10 games of the season.